G'day crew, video confidence coach here, Zoe. Today is just going to be a short video and it's not going to be my lovely energy bubbly affair. Mainly because we're talking about something that I deeply believe in and I bring my energy down to the level that is required and respected for this message. And I also want you to learn from this that standing up for what you believe in, using your personal brand to help you stand up for that is something that is never going to affect you. And you should never suffer because of what you believe in. Whether being unpolitical or whenever people disagree with what you think, your personal brand is a representation of you and what you believe in and what you want to happen to change the world. And right now for me, and it's not just because today, the 26th of January, is Invasion Day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am not educated enough or confident enough to be able to speak wholeheartedly about the subject of Invasion Day, Survival Day, or the Day of Mourning. Not just because, I am a somewhat privileged white woman in Australia. It's because I was never taught it in school. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I have done my best to educate myself and to keep seeking out new information regarding Invasion Day and what the Aboriginal elders, emerging and current and even past, talk about and discuss regarding Invasion Day and everything as a whole. Because surprisingly, just because there's one day does not mean where this information is brought to the surface for obvious reasons, does not mean that every other day is perfectly fine. And that's what I want to stress here, that I am not the most educated person to be educating you about this topic or about this story, which is why I highly recommend that you Google, that you do your research, that you don't actively, one thing that I will ask you not to do is to actively reach out to Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people expecting them to educate you, because it's not their responsibility to. It's not their responsibility to educate you on something that is out there in the world, that is online, that people who are activists are already talking about. It's our responsibility to listen. Because whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, people in Australia are still dying and being mistreated because of racism. Racism being a story that white people told themselves a couple of centuries ago to make themselves feel better and to make them be above anyone else in this world. Because they need an excuse to throw people underfoot as they try to take over the world. And I want to make this video nice and short, hopefully, to leave a space for Aboriginal people to speak, be represented, and to be heard. And I'll do that by pointing you in the description below to videos, to content creators, to activists who can educate and speak regarding Invasion Day and the mistreatment of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are currently happening even today. And even in this Lord year 2021, not religious, I just never quite understood throughout my entire life of why we celebrated the day the British landed, even though the Dutch, Portuguese and Spanish had already landed in Australia before. And the British people had technically already landed before on the other side of Australia. But we celebrate this dude who was killing people for their stuff. Who, yes, quote unquote, traveled the world. Well, he didn't. His crew dragged him along. But why do we celebrate as the day that we put on our, all our calendars and say, this is Australia Day? No, it's Invasion Day. We consistently need to invest in Indigenous youth, protection of Indigenous lands, respect Indigenous people and their elders, past, present and emerging, And above all else, be respectful. People are not just different because of the colour of their skin. We are all people. And everyone deserves respect. Which is why people in Australia consistently being mistreated, being killed because some choice of some colonial conquestors made a couple of centuries ago. Screw that. White people, we are better than that. And which is why we need to listen. We need to get informed. And that is what you're going to do. After this video, you're going to inform yourself. You're going to educate yourself. And we are going to use our power for good.